There are a lot of misconceptions about the workflow tab within Asana. So let me show you what it does and explain some of the limitations. Just so you know, as of today, we are in January 2023. The workflow feature doesn't add anything that was missing from the tool. It's only a visual help. It doesn't bring anything specific. Also, it only works as of today with project based on sections. And I'll explain what that means and what's the impact of this. When you have a project like this, sometimes you want to structure it with sections. So you have step 1, step 2, step 3. And the workflow feature will be pretty handy if your project is based on sections and is a pipeline project, which means tasks have to go through each section one after another. They have to go through one section to the other. When you create a project like this, there's a couple of things you can customize. You can customize how tasks are added into the project, either manually or through a form, for example, or using a task template. Those are the three options. Then you might want to decide what makes a task go from one section to the other. And you might also want to define what's happening to a task that goes into a specific section. So there are really three different things you might want to customize. And until the workflow feature arrived, we could do all of this from the customize menu. You can go there, you can create some rules, you can create a form, a task template, you can do everything directly from that customized menu. What the workflow feature does is helping you visually organize everything. So if you go into the workflow tab, you're going to see a lot of things. The first step is how to define how a task is created. Does it come from a form submission? Does it come from a task template? Or does it come from other apps? And then if you scroll to the right, you will see one block for each section that you have. And this is what I meant when I said that it only brings value if you have sections. It doesn't currently work with custom fields, even if you sort your project by that specific field. So each section gets their own block. And if you click on the block, you can see two things. At the top, you can define what makes a task go into this section. Sometimes it's just manual. People will manually move things into the section. And sometimes it's just about a custom field being changed. And if you click here, you will be actually taken to the rule editor. If I click on custom trigger, that's the rule editor that you already know. That's what I meant when I said that the workflow feature doesn't add anything. It's just bundling together existing features. And then you can define what's happening when something is added to the section, right? So when the task arrives in that specific section, you can decide on an assign, you can post a comment. All of those are possible again through the existing rule feature. So this is what you would do if you would have to set up a project from scratch. Let me show you what an existing project, a complex project does. Let's say we are tracking applicants. We have an ATS and we have different sections to track those applicants, and they have to go through all the sections. You can see those sections visually on the screen. If you go into customize, you can see we have some rules, we have a form, so we have created everything. But we created everything by going through the workflow tab. And if you go to the workflow tab, you'll see the result of our work. You can see there's a form attached to that project. And again, this is the existing form feature. It doesn't add anything. And you can see all the different sections that we have. You can see here that there's a trigger that will make a task go into this section, which in that case is the form being submitted. And you can see that when a task arrives in this section, there's a couple of things happening. You add an approval subtask, you change a custom field, and the same thing happens for that second option as well. So really, again, that workflow tab is all about visually organizing your project, and at the moment doesn't add anything except some clarity, which is obviously interesting to have. But you do not have to go through the workflow tab to create rules and forms. And I wanted to clarify this because there has been a lot of confusions from our clients. They were actually going through the workflow tab thinking that it was adding something to their Asana. But hopefully this feature will get better, and we will have specific features around workflows and things that we will be able to do here that we can't do elsewhere. But at the moment, that's it. I hope that helps. Have a good day.